Hello fellers. How are you doing? I know it's a little weird to hear a voice on this channel, especially because the last time I used it was, like, 1 year ago and it didn't end well. Anyway, today I'm here to tell you about a topic which could be one of the most important lore parts of Cuphead. First things first, we'll have to take a look to Rugged Ridge. In this level, there's some real weird stuff. There's a huge structure, similar to an ancient ruined city, filled with symbols that refer to cups and flatware. The enemies that spawn here, apart from these guys, don't seem to have a direct connection to the building itself. The most interesting part, though, is this area where you can find many statues representing, once again, cups and similar. Among them, you can find what seems to be Chalice and a sort of elder Kettle. You can tell it's not him by the handle he has on his head, but I'm pretty sure they're relatives. Maybe this guy is Kettle's father or grandpa. As others noticed, the souls that Chalice summons with her super art 3 are the same depicted by the statues. The description of this super art is, unleashes Ms. Chalice's ancient form and launches a spectral volley. This confirms that Chalice was a warrior and probably a command figure, maybe an army captain. The fact that the Kettle mentioned earlier doesn't appear with the other souls makes me think he was the warrior's king or some kind of old sage/magician that didn't fight directly. Now the question is, what happened? Why did these people fight? My opinion is that they brutally lost a war and Elder Kettle and his grandchildren are the last living members of their lineage. Think about it, Kettle lives in a house hidden in the woods and doesn't allow Mugman and Cuphead to go anywhere. Maybe he's just overprotective, or maybe there's more about it. What if I tell you that Kettle is protecting others from those two, because they're the only creatures on the island that can use weapons? I know this is a little twisted, but let me explain. We know that the bosses of the base game could have obtained their powers by making deals with the devil. It's not a confirmed hypothesis, but the fact that their show counterparts don't have these powers corroborates it. Why should they make these kind of deals when they have pork rind ready to offer super deadly weapons? But, even if we assume they have these powers by their own, why don't the bosses that don't have them, like Sally Stageplay, spend some money to get those weapons and be more prepared to deal with the cups? Maybe this is because they know that only the ancient cups warriors could use them. To give more support to this theory, let's just remember that Kettle has in fact a weapon and for some reason he doesn't talk about it to the cups until they are in really deep shoot, even though it could have been a nice self-defense tool. He also says that the weapon gives magical abilities and that he has a mystical inkwell. I wonder where he took that from. Oh and yeah, I think that these guys here are just artificial guards made by the inhabitants of the ancient city. Now there is another question, why does Chalice seem to be the only soul stuck in the astral plane, unlike the other warriors? Why does she want to leave it? I don't know if we'll ever get a response to that, but now it's more clear what she was looking for in the mausoleums, probably a way to return alive. To sum this theory up, here's a timeline. In a previous age, we don't know exactly when, there was a cup/flatware lineage that was very strong in combat and probably knew about magic. They could have acquired those powers from the mystical Inkwell and named the islands after it. Their strongest shelter was up in the mountains, maybe it was chosen because it was a good strategic place. For some reason they started a war, we don't know against who, maybe the devil himself that decided to establish on that island, perhaps someone else that left, maybe someone that had stronger powers coming from the astral plane. They lost the war and just a magician, Elder Kettle and 2 orphans, who he decided to adopt, survived. Elder Kettle understood how powerful and dangerous Cuphead and Mugman could have been, so he decided to keep them isolated and retired in the woods. He was forced, however, to tell them about their powers when their souls were menaced, but he was so sure in their capabilities that he correctly supposed they would have been able to defeat the devil himself. During all those years, Chalice remained trapped in the astral plane, maybe because she was the boss of the Cup's army, so she was given by the enemy a worse punishment than death. Anyway, what does Saltbaker have to do with all of this? How does he know about the astral plane? Perhaps he belongs to the extinct warriors, too, but in that case why wouldn't he buy the weapons and take the ingredients by himself? As you've seen, this video brings more questions than answers, but this is kinda normal when we talk about theories. You can say I'm overthinking and you're right, but I just like to comb through games and their secrets. What do you think about all of this? Do you have better explanations? Did you find some errors or logical holes in my theory? Which is entirely possible, by the way. But, most importantly, why doesn't Canteen Hughes get the appreciation he deserves? He's the best video game character of all time. Change my mind. Okay, now, I'm delirious, but seriously, this guy just blindly helps you without asking nothing in exchange, and no one talks about him. Poor Hughes. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. See you next time.